Hey there, it's Mike Kassman, and I have some big news. I am now an award-winning copywriter. Here's how it happened. I'm part of a copywriting mastermind called Copy Chief Accelerator, run by A-list copywriter Kevin Rogers. And every now and then we do copywriting competitions to let copywriters show off their writing chops. And just recently we did a competition to see who could write the best and the funniest Facebook Marketplace ad to sell this beauty. Don't worry, that'll make a little more sense here in a minute. I've never shared this ad publicly, and so today I'm going to do the big reveal. I'll read through it, and then I will break it down so that you can see what goes on behind the scenes of an award-winning ad. And so let me just give you a quick background so you know what's going on. Like I said, we had a copywriting competition, and it lasted for about a week. I came in a bit late to the party. I think I showed up the last day you can make a submission. And by then, dozens of other copywriters had already submitted their ads. And there were some big names in there, some A-listers. So after reading through some of the other submissions, I was pretty sure that I didn't really have a chance of winning. But that actually worked out in my favor because I decided in that moment that, you know what, I just have to get attention and tell a fascinating story. So I'm just going to let all of the shackles fall off and write like I have nothing to lose. And it was amazing. It was freeing, and I had a lot of fun. And lo and behold, the day after the competition ended, I won. And so now I am excited to share that journey with you, to share the steps that I took to write this award-winning ad, so you can do it for yourself or just for your entertainment, because this is one of those ads that's meant to be entertaining. So let us dive into the ad. We'll do the read-through, and then the breakdown will follow. Oh yeah, two things I almost forgot to mention. If you have already read the ad and you just want to see the breakdown, go ahead and skip to timestamp about 6 minutes and 30 seconds, maybe 6 minutes to be safe. And second thing, this ad is rated PG-13, so hide your kids. All right, so let's read through this. Headline: Lonely and restless. Pampered purple princess looking for love and the ride of a lifetime. Kissy face. Ooh. Hey, baby, the name's Tanya. There's Tanya. Some people objectify me and call me a 2019 Trek Imonda ALR5. But that's what I am, not who I am. Can you tell the difference? Yeah? Good. Because my current BF can't, and I'm looking for someone who actually appreciates me and gives me the love I need. Yeah, so anyway, I've been with Tommy for like 3 years now, and he's completely ignored me. It's like I don't exist, like I'm invisible. He rode me twice in 3 years. I feel completely used. A couple good rides, and then he pretends like I don't exist. I see how it is, Tommy. Since he picked me up at Oliver's Cycle Shop, brand new, back in 2019, I've got less than 2 miles on the road. I'm basically still brand new after 3 freaking years. I'm starting to wonder if he's even into pretty girls like me. I'm fed up with the games. I'm fed up with being unappreciated. I'm fed up with Tommy playing tennis with his friend, Randy, and not spending time writing me. I'm fed up with Tommy grappling with sweaty guys on the jujitsu mat and not taking me out for long evening rides. I'm fed up with just sitting around waiting for him to come home and treat me right and getting nothing. Like, whatever, his loss. So here I am. I'm done with Tommy and I want to start a new life. Want to ride with me? Unlike Tommy, I'm not overly picky. I'm just looking for love. Age? Irrelevant. Race? I'm colorblind. Gender? I'm flexible. But I know that everybody's got their own preferences, so here are my measurements to fuel your daydreams. Frame size, 52 inches. I get more looks from shorter guys, and I don't mind that at all. Weight, roughly 19.39 pounds. I'm a pretty trim girl, part of why I'm a fast mover. Drivetrain, Shimano 105 full group set. Might be trim, but I got thickness where it counts. Color, purple flip. You'd look great on me. Frame set, 300 series alpha aluminum hydroformed tubes / carbon fork. Other stuff? Yes, I come with a stand. If you want to get more nitty gritty, check me out on OnlyFans. Trek bikes. And maybe you're like, hey, you sound like a dream, but what's it going to cost me? Well, other than your love and affectionate attention, I'm willing to be easy, but not too easy, like some of these thoughts you'll find on here. I'm a princess, so I got standards. I know what I'm worth. But I also know the economy's gone to shit, and I'm definitely not a nappy-headed gold digger like some of these other girls. So, honey, let's not be coy. As you can see, I'd be a steal for $1,600, but I'll take off 200 for the 2 miles Tommy and I rode together all those years ago. And I'll take off another 100 because the Federal Reserve hiked interest rates again. I'd be willing to take 1,300, but if you're still reading this, I'll take off another 100 because I'm pretty sure I'm going to like you. So let's do 1,200 and I'm all yours. Here's one last pick for you. Want me? Call me. Insert phone number. By the way, I've talked to Tommy at this point and the breakup is mutual. So here's how the call will work. Call, ask for Tanya, you'll talk to Tommy, you'll pay Tommy, and right away with Tanya. Sound good, sugar? Thus ends the ad, and thus begins the social proof. So Jimmy Parent was in charge of judging the competition, and the day after the competition ended, I woke up to a notification in Copy Chief that I had won. And then I got a whole slew of amazing feedback from incredible writers, mentors of mine. Justin Blackman is a great friend of mine, and he joined the competition. Kevin Rogers is an A-lister, founder of Copy Chief, a dear mentor and friend. Rachel Mazza, the CMO of Copy Chief. Daniel Throssell, he's an A-list email copywriter. He was also involved in the competition. Rachel made 2 appearances in the social proof. Congrats, Rachel. You're awesome. Tommy Lynch, who is he's an actor who actually was Tanya's owner. And he was the one who was requesting the ad. And Craig Schoolcate, a friend of mine who runs a financial newsletter in Ireland. Great guy, great newsletter, by the way. So anyway, let's go back to the breakdown. First, big picture, and then we'll get into the nitty gritty. So, big picture. I first introduce the protagonist, Tanya. Then I introduce the conflict, namely that she has been neglected. I then introduce the antagonist, Tommy, which sparks the story between Tanya and Tommy. And then that is effectively the reason why behind the existence of the ad. Why is this ad on Facebook Marketplace? Well, because of the conflict between Tanya and Tommy. Now Tanya's sick and tired of Tommy, so she's trying to get a new life. That's the reason why. Once I establish the reason why behind the ad, I then start incorporating sales arguments and selling points. So with the big picture out of the way, let's get into the nitty gritty. Because I was late to the party submitting this ad, I had to get creative really fast. And one of the ways that I do that, especially if I'm in a crunch, is I use what I call fascination generation. It's a series of methods that I use. I think I've got about 30 at this point. It's constantly growing, but 30 different methods that I use to take boring, mundane details and make them like irresistibly interesting. In this ad, I use about a dozen, maybe more. And so anytime I use one, I'll call it out because I've found it extremely helpful because many times as copywriters, we're given a lot of boring details and we have to make a story out of it, an interesting and gripping story. And these ideas for me, as I've gone through my copywriting career, I've just started collecting these methods that I use. Some of them are crazy, but they work in their own right. Others are a little more boring, but they also work. And so I want to share those with you just in case they can help you as well. First things first, right off the bat, we have a fascination generation, which is what I call flip the script, referring to the headline and the overall ad. So the other submissions for this competition were all from Tommy's perspective, talking about Tanya and giving all sorts of variant reasons about why he no longer wanted the bike, no longer needed the bike. And I knew that I had to get attention right off the bat. And so I said, screw that. I'm completely flipping it. So instead of Tommy's perspective on Tanya, I'm doing Tanya's perspective on Tommy. Then comes another fascination generation, which is direct conversation and colorful language. So those are two in one. I'm instantly starting a conversation with the reader. It's not just first person. It's also you, the reader. Hey, I'm talking to you. And we've got emojis, we've got slang, provocative language that all falls under the colorful language category. Picture of Tanya, beautiful. Now here we have one of the main elements of what made this ad successful. The first one was flipping the script. The second one is anthropomorphism. And that's when you take a non-human object and you give it human qualities. I took a bike and turned it into a person with a name, Tanya, and a personality that comes out throughout the entirety of the ad. That's different. That's unique. And so that gave me an edge over all of the other submissions. And then this is a fascination generation. It's called a philosophical question. I'm asking the reader to decide whether they can tell the difference between what something is and who something is. It's not an incredibly deep question, but in the context of this ad, it's just trying to solidify that idea of anthropomorphism. Can you tell the difference between what I am and who I am? It also taps into the objectification comment that I made earlier. And it introduces the conflict, which is my boyfriend can't tell the difference between what I am and who I am. He just doesn't appreciate me and he neglects me. That's when I introduce Tommy, the antagonist. And this is a fascination generation. It's called dialectic. It's a reference to Marxist dialectic. Marx is a madman. Don't follow his philosophy, but I do reference it in the sense that story can be born from conflict, not societal progress, story. So that's where our story really begins. And here we have another fascination generation, which is double entendre or innuendo. And it doesn't always have to be like wink, wink sexual jokes. It just means any sort of inside joke that can quickly build a connection with your audience. So if you know you can tell some sort of like a, hey, I'm not saying it, but you know what I'm saying, right? Anytime you can do that for your reader, it just brings them a little bit closer into your inner circle. It's sort of like humor. Humor disarms people. And especially inside jokes, it brings them closer to you and lets them into your circle, makes them trust you more. Here we have details. So these are real details that we were given to write the advertisement. And details are always great because they solidify the story. They make it more real. They bring it down to earth. It adds a concrete nature to the story. And people love relevant details. And so throughout this narrative, I'm trying to add in seamlessly relevant details that the reader would be interested to know. I'm starting to wonder if he's even into pretty girls like me. Here we have another fascination generation, which is extreme emotion. As we see here, 3 freaking years, lots of exclamation points. We have lots of all caps. This girl is pissed. And she's starting to go even beyond that to making assumptions, to creating more conflict. She's fed up. She's fed up. She's fed up. And now she starts going after Tommy. That extreme emotion begets more conflict, which begets more story. Here we have what I call TMI, another fascination generation, where effectively you're just over explaining to the point of being comical. I could have just said, I'm fed up with Tommy playing tennis and not spending time with me. But by adding this little extra bit of information, playing tennis with his friend Randy, that completely changes that sentence. And I could have said, I'm fed up with Tommy doing jujitsu instead of going out for long evening rides. No, I add that little bit of information with sweaty guys on the jujitsu mat. These two comments reinforce this accusation back up here. It just adds to the drama, adds to the conflict. Making boring things interesting. I love it. Now, where's the next thing? Okay, here we go. This is what I call storification. Basically, what it means is that you're taking boring facts and giving them some sort of relevance to the story. And so, frame size, 52 inches. Why does that matter to the story? This is something that the reader wants to know because it's a Facebook ad. So, they are probably wanting to know a little bit about the bike, the specs. But how can I wrap the specs into the story? Well, frame size, 52 inches. I get more looks from shorter guys, and I don't mind that at all I'm saying here is 52 inches is a smaller bike. And so smaller people are going to want this bike. Same thing for the weight. I'm a pretty trim girl, part of why I'm a fast mover. This bike was meant to be used for triathlons and stuff like that. And it's the same for everything. The group set, the thickness, purple flip, the color, you'd look great on me. It all is just fueling the narrative. Obviously, this is another innuendo here, but I use it as the occasion to drop a link in there to give people the web page on Trek Bikes so they could get all of the specs, all of the pictures. I thought of it like the OnlyFans for the bike. We're now moving into the more sales argument part of the ad. This is objection handling, which is about the price. The bike is very expensive. And so I go ahead and I address that head on. Okay, so what's it going to cost me? And I now start to dimensionalize the price. But all the while, I'm wrapping it up into the story and making it jive with Tanya's personality. Okay. And so I just went on Facebook Marketplace and I grabbed some screenshots of really cheap bikes. And so what does Tanya call them? She calls them cheap thoughts. Who wants a cheap thought? Nobody. I'm a princess, so I got standards. I know what I'm worth. She does. And then I take the opposite extreme of showing somebody how much they could spend on a similar bike, namely 6,000, 5,000, 3,000. And what does she call them? Tanya calls them nappy-headed gold diggers. Okay, so you've got the thoughts and you've got the gold diggers. Oh, and here, this is what I call a relevant facts, as in straight facts, no printer. This is a fascination generation. It shows that the person writing the ad is actually a human. They're paying attention. They're giving you a relevant fact, like, hey, the economy's gone down. Everybody knows that. Everybody who's human knows that. And so throwing in little facts like that humanizes the ad even more. And then I start the process of making it into a no-brainer offer. I just start taking off money. So I'll take off 200 for the 2 miles. I'll take off another 100. And then there's another relevant facts here because the Federal Reserve hiked interest rates again. And so now you have a new dimensionalized price of 1,300 that's starting to look a little bit better. But if you're still reading this, I'll take off another 100 because what the heck. And so 1,200, the no-brainer deal price is complete. So I've done nothing for the last page except dimensionalize the price, knock off a bunch of money, and now this is the asking price. And then I wrap it up, put a nice little bow on it, do a little sign off, and we are complete. All right, now that the breakdown is done, if you're still with me, I'm going to give you 2 more fascination generations that contributed to this ad. The first one is what I call salvation in song. This is pretty far down the rabbit hole, admittedly, but it helps me, and especially if you're musical, it can help you too. And the idea is that if I'm writing in the personality of somebody else, like in this case, I was writing as Tanya. If I'm trying to get into the flow of that person's personality, I'll ask myself the question, if this person's story, narrative, feeling was a song, what would it be? And sometimes I come up with more than one because you don't always find one song. And so for Tanya, what I found was My Humps by the Black Eyed Peas. These Boots Were Made for Walking by Jessica Simpson from that god-awful Dukes of Hazzard movie, and Single Ladies by Beyonce. Those three songs I felt like encapsulated the personality that I wanted for Tanya. And so by listening to those songs, I picked up a lot of subtle, basically subtle ammunition to use while I'm writing the ad. Because you can get emotion, you can get poetic expression, because obviously they're writing song lyrics, so there has to be, cadence and rhythm and all that stuff. I could talk a lot about Salvation and Song because I love music, but I'm going to stop there for now. The second treat is called the Doppler effect. And what that is, it's a bit of a nerdy reference. It comes from The Witcher, and Dopplers are shapeshifters. And so sometimes I will find an image online that, as close as possible, expresses the type of person that I'm writing as, with a similar reason for the Salvation and Song. You're trying to pick up every kind of subtlety that you can to really dial in the personality that you're going after. So I told you the songs that I used, and now I'm going to show you the image that I picked for Tanya. There she is. This woman is a comedian. I don't know who she is. Her picture just felt to me like it was pretty close to what I imagined Tanya to be if she was a person. Not as much sass as I would like, but you can only get so close with these exercises. So nothing's perfect, but I just figured I would share that with you. And that's a wrap. The breakdown is complete. And if you have any questions, or if you want to tell me about the ad, if you're offended by the ad, drop it in the comments, send me a message. I'd love to hear about it. And otherwise, take care. Have a great day.